Welcome back to the Firm Foundation podcast. I'm your host, Gary Daniels. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm an insurance agent in Dallas, Texas. Share with you all some of my growth and some of the experiences that I've had over the years. When I was 18, my hero at the time was my uncle, who conveniently for me right now was an Allstate agent. And I looked up to him, wanted to hang out with him because I thought he was cool. He had all the clothes and the things that I thought I wanted. So he was kind of inspiration to me. And so that's who I wanted to become, or at least mimic, because he had a lot of the things that I thought I wanted. The reason I'm sharing that with you is that was an early peep into who I thought I wanted to be, but I wasn't quite prepared for that. But just kind of keep that in mind. I wanted to become an agency owner, or at least an Allstate guy, at 18. That didn't happen right away because I had a lot of lessons to learn. One of the lessons that I learned was that you have to prepare yourself for the future. I wasn't prepared. God made a way for me to allow me to get in to talk to these folks at Allstate, and I walked in with my best polyester suit on and my afro just right, with my bell bottoms and my platform shoes on in 1978, look at the best that I possibly could. And here's the way the interview goes. So Mr. Daniels, thank you for coming to interview with us. It's like, oh yeah, so sit forward and make sure that you do the firm handshake and all the things that we're told, make sure that you have a good impression, speak well and so on and so forth. And so he says, well, let's take a look at your resume. I'm 18. I don't even know what a resume is, let alone have one with me. So now I got to make up a story. Well, Mr. Jones, my excitement to get here, I seem to have forgotten it. Okay, well, do you have your application filled out? Oh, yes, sir. So I hand it to him, and he says, okay, well, let's go over your resume. So I see that you worked at McDonald's. And I was like, yes, sir, I worked at McDonald's. And he said, you were there for 3 months, and tell me a little bit about that. Well, I was in charge of French fries and burgers, and I got to try to make this thing sound as important as possible. And clearly, it wasn't impressive. Went on to the next thing. Well, you spent some time at Burger King, and tell me about that. So I go through my little jobs that I had as a high school kid, and finally he says, Mr. Daniels, he says, first of all, congratulations. I have no idea how you managed to make your way into my office for this interview, but congratulations on making it through, because you and I, quite frankly, we shouldn't even be talking. He said, what do you want to do for Allstate? I said, well, I want to become an agent. And here's what he says. Mr. Daniels, you're not educated enough to be an agent for Allstate. This man literally destroyed my dreams and my whole aspirations, my master plan as a high school kid on what I was going to do to become successful. Because what I wanted out of life was here, and what I was bringing to the marketplace was here, because I wasn't prepared. And we'll talk a little bit about preparation. Fast forward, he said, I'll tell you what, because he could tell he crushed my dreams. I teared up a little bit. I think it was allergies. But because of that, he said, I'll tell you what, we do have an internship program here at Allstate, but you have to be in college. You have to have a minimum of 45 hours. So because of that, I enrolled in college as quickly as I possibly could. I was fortunate enough to get in at Bishop College and started my career there. And had some great experiences at an HBCU, and was there for a couple of years. And then Bishop College started running into some financial issues, and I ultimately ended up having to transfer to UTA because Bishop had lost its accreditation. So I had to start all over again, right? So while I was at Bishop, I was a music major and played in the ambassador marching band and that kind of thing, and had great experiences, great friendships, and some of those friendships I still have to this day. But I had to find another university because my family was here. I wanted to go to some place that was relatively close. So I ended up at the University of Texas Arlington as a music major, and I got there and was doing pretty well, and I'm a guitarist. And so one day I go in and we had to learn everything. We had to learn jazz, we had to learn classical music. We had to learn every instrument. So a lot of different things to learn. And I'd only really learned piano, a little bit of piano and guitar. So I had all these other things that I need to do. And he congratulates me, like, hey, Gary, you're doing really well. You're going to be out of UTA in 7 years. I'm going, whoa. 7 years, man, I already been in college for 2. You know, I didn't say this verbally, but I'm thinking. And then finally I just said, hey, what else do you guys have? And he said, well, he says, we've got some other things that you might be interested in. Maybe you need to go take a look at the curriculum and see some other things. And I chose broadcasting, and as it ended up being a blessing to me. Did meet my wife in radio. And so we've been married now 37 years. We have 2 wonderful daughters. They're both grown now. During my broadcast career, there's a lot of crazy schedules. So I enjoyed what I was doing, but a lot of late nights, a lot of holidays, and those kinds of things, and long hours. And I worked primarily in the news business. I did some sports, but primarily in the news business. And I don't have to tell you all of the negative things that are going on in the world right now. And over time, you know, some almost 30 years, that kind of wore on me. So ultimately, you know, I'd made decent money, but I was also looking to try to get a part of myself back as far as flexibility. And I've been able to do that right now with the help of a lot of folks, which is important because in anything that you want to do, I don't care whether it's sports, music, and certainly in business, you want to build a solid team. And I've been fortunate enough over the last few years to put together a solid team, which will help propel you in anything that you do, regardless of whether it's your education, and even in your personal life. You want to build a solid team around you of folks that will help you get to the next level. So we'll talk about all these kinds of things with the Firm Foundation podcast. The whole purpose of this was just to kind of give you a little introduction to me so that you hear this old guy talking to you. It's like, what does he know about this? Well, I've had some great experiences. I've met some great folks over the years. I've been broke and I've had money. So all these kinds of things, I don't think there's any area that I can't share with you guys about what that life experience is about. So as I said at the beginning of our time together, I've had a lot of different things, a wide range of experiences. And when I spoke of a colleague of mine in my radio experience specifically, he suggested that I start a podcast. And I thought that was kind of interesting because I'm not the kind of guy that likes to promote myself, but I'm more about trying to lift other folks up. You know, I'm in my 60s now. I have done okay, but I'm passionate about trying to help other folks. I think we should all be trying to help others to build a legacy, to help folks not necessarily make some of the same mistakes that we made, and to be better. So that's the purpose of this entire podcast. And I just wanted to kind of introduce myself and let you guys know a little bit about who I am. Whether you're looking to purchase your first home, finance your car without spending a fortune on it, or simply just wanting to build your credit, I truly believe that the Firm Foundation podcast is going to become a place of an incredible insight for free. Looking to buy a home within the next 12 to 18 months, be sure to join me next week for a conversation on some of the first steps that you should be taking.